This is the first video in the introduction videos to Microsoft Excel in our series of Microsoft Excel for chemical engineers. And actually, this is gonna just be a very, very simple introduction that will not go into any details of chemical engineering. But just I'm interested in this introduction in letting you know some very basic stuff about Microsoft Excel and the calculations. And the more important thing is to know how Microsoft Excel understands your input and how you can give the Excel the right input so it understands what you really want to do. Um, so First of all, as you see, Microsoft Excel just consists of some cells, and each cell is part of a row and a column, and it's named based on this row and column. So this is A1, and this is B2, and this is C2, and whatever the cell you are standing on or are selecting is gonna have the name based on the column and the row. And all the operations that you can do are here in these ribbons, and we're gonna pass by them one by one. When we need any one of them, we will just go ahead and check this option. Of course, we are not gonna cover all of them, but we're just covering the stuff that are more important to us as chemical engineers. As we all know, mainly we use Microsoft Excel to do basic calculations and some more advanced calculations, as we're gonna see in the next videos. Let's go ahead and see how we do the calculation. So first, when we go ahead and do the calculation, let's say I wanna calculate 5 plus 6. So if I come here in this cell and write 5 plus 6 and then press enter, then it's not gonna do anything. It's gonna just write this, and this is because Excel now doesn't understand that you wanna calculate something. It just understands that you write 5 plus 6. To let Microsoft Excel know that you wanna do a calculation, then you need to press equal first. So in this case, you'll find that this function, the enter and cancel buttons are now active. In this case, you can write the same equation, 5 plus 6, and then when you press enter, now it's 11. So it now understood that you wanna do this calculation. So this is the first thing. The main operations that we need to use is the addition, which is plus, subtraction, which is minus, multiplication, which is the star, which is shift and 8 button, and the division, which is the slash, which is this, and the power. Sometimes we need the power, is the head button, which is shift and 6. So these are the main operations that you need to do with Excel, and sometimes we need to use the brackets just to do some calculations before others in the same cell. Then there is one more thing that's important to know when you input your data into Excel. Excel understands your input as a number or any other thing which is not a number. So for instance, if you like write a name or a letter, then this is your input, so it's a letter. If you write a number, then this is a number, and you need to notice that when it's a number, it's aligned to the right of the cell, and if it's not a number, it's aligned to the left of the cell. This might not look very important, but actually it's really important, because let's say if you want to press or write a number 10, and then instead of writing the 0, you write O, and in this case you press enter, you see it as 10, but it's actually not 10. And it's really important, because if you want to do a calculation based on this cell, then Excel will not do anything, because it doesn't see this as a number. You see it as a number, but this is the thing that I was talking about in the beginning of the video, that your input might not be the right input to Excel. You see it as something, and Excel sees it as something else. So in this case, you need to rewrite it as 10. In this case, it will be aligned to the right. So it's really important to note that your input really has different alignment based on its type. One more thing about Excel is the way you write your input. So let's say I have like a chemical engineering example, one of the most important parameters that we use a lot is the density. So let's say I'm saying the density of water is 1000 kilograms per meter cube. So now I understand that this is the density and I can do some calculation based on this. But again, Microsoft Excel doesn't understand this. It just sees this as just bunch of stuff that are written, and it's not a number. So if you wanna do some calculations based on this, then you'd better write it as this. You just write the density in in a single cell, and the number in a single cell, and the units in a single cell. Microsoft Excel doesn't care about all these stuff. It just cares about the number. These the density and the units are just for you, just to know that this is a density, and these are the units of this density. So if you want to do any calculations based on this number, then it's okay, you're fine. But just to know that this is the density and these are the units. One cool thing about Excel, you can just do some cosmetic stuff, like let's say I want to make this 3 as a superscript. So if you right click and press format cell, then you will find this window that's coming up now, and it gives you some options of this number or this highlighted text or number. So you can change the font, you can change anything about this highlighted number. So it can change the font style, the size, and we just want to make it as superscript. You can make it as subscript as well, so it doesn't make any difference. Again, this is just some cosmetic stuff. One more thing is the density. We are not used to write density as density, we just are used to write it as row, which is the Greek symbol. And actually, if you wanna insert this symbol, then it will be kind of a long process. You go to insert and then symbol, and then you look for the right font. Let's say this gonna be symbol, and then you look for this here, and you might find it and you might not find it. So it's here actually, and then you close. But it's gonna be long process, and you don't always find your symbol simply. So one thing which is cool about Excel and all other Office or any other software, which is the symbol font, which is one of the fonts in Windows. Actually, you don't need to install it and find it anywhere. If you choose the symbol font, you'll find it here, and then if you press R, then it will be row. If you press A, it will be alpha. If you press B, G, all these symbols are available. You don't need to do insert any specific symbols. And actually I made this table. You find here all the normal font letters and the symbols, and you have some uppercase and some lowercase, which is really nice. You don't need to do anything about them, just change the font into symbol and you'll be fine. This table is gonna be available in the link below the video now. Okay, so now I have this density is 1000 kilogram per meter cube, and let's say I have the mass of water is, let's say, 4 kilograms, and I want to calculate the volume. And we all know that the volume is rho mass over density. So I can write it as 4 divided by 1000, and this will be meter cubed, right? And the calculations are fine. It's 4 over 1000, it's gonna be 0.004. But this is not the best way to do this in Excel, and actually we didn't make use of the very important or the very best function in Excel, which is doing calculation based on the calculations in or the numbers in different cells. Actually, this calculation can be done this way. I can press equal and then select this cell and then divide by this cell, and it's gonna give the same value. But the good thing about it, you can see exactly which cell is you're calculating from. And the other good thing is that you can change, if you change the value of the mass you have here, then it's gonna change the value of the V which is calculated from this cell. So this cell is gonna change its value according to any change in these calculations or these values you have in the other cells. Let's say I have another mass. Let's say it's mass 2. Sorry, it's mass 2, and it's, let's say, 15 kilograms. And for and for some reason I did the mistake and I calculated this cell or this volume based on this mass, and I should have calculated it from the second one. One cool thing that you can change this formula by just grabbing this and moving it to this side, but just make sure that the cursor or the mouse changes its shape from this normal shape into the mouse that has 4 arrows coming from it, and then it's now doing the calculations very simply. It's gonna be really important if you have a really good or a really long calculation or equation, and you need to change any one of these stuff. Especially you have every border has the color of the number or the cell number that you are calculating from, so you can definitely or easily tell which is which. Um, there is one last thing I wanna say before I finish this video is how Microsoft Excel shows some errors. Sometimes you can do some errors in your calculations, and it just gives an error, and sometimes you panic and feel that everything is going wrong. And actually, it's not something to panic. It just tells you that you have a problem and you have to take care of this problem. Let's say I have two numbers, 10, 5, and 0. Let's say I have these three numbers, and I wanna first add this to this, but instead of pressing enter, I pressed any other like letter before I press enter. So actually it's gonna give me this name error, which lets me know that there is something wrong with my formula. It should be F12 plus F13, but there is something here which doesn't make any sense to Excel. So you just need to check the formula and make sure that this is written in the right form. So this is the first error. The second error, if I wanna, let's say, divide this by this, and instead of this formula dividing by 5, I made a mistake and divided by this 0, and it's gonna just let me know that you are dividing by 0. So what I need to do is to change it into the right cell. So these are the two main errors that you may find when you do these calculations using Excel. And one last thing is that how Excel shows the number. So let's say I have 10,000, and these two are the same number, and actually you can show the number in different forms. And one of the important forms that you'll find if I do format cell, and it's really important for engineers actually, if you go to the format cell and then number, you can find this scientific one, you can find time, percentage, accounting, currency, and all these different things, but it's the most important one that we really care about is the scientific, which is showing the number as 1 point something or something point something, but and then number, which is multiplied by 10 to the 4. So this is the same number as this. It just shows the number as 1 multiplied by 10 to the 4th. And it's really important if you're doing these calculations, or you're like dealing with numbers that are really big, like to the power of 5 or 6. You don't care about the small numbers, you just care about the power. So it's just one other form of showing the number. It doesn't make any difference with the calculations or any other thing with Excel. So this is like all what I need to do for the first video, and we're gonna complete this in the next video.